And I'd like to welcome you all to our Thursday 1:30 p.m. session today with Iona once again, where Samantha will be doing a session on resources for DC residents over 60, navigating support and services. I'm going to read our disclaimer before we get started. The WildTech DC Senior Digital Equity Program, its owners and presenters offer technical assistance, virtual health, well-being information designed for educational purposes only. You should not rely on the info and any apps or topics made by WildTech, including but not limited to mobile device applications and any social media pages maintained by WildTech, its owners, or presenters as a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, treatment, or legal advice. Thanks so much for letting me read the disclaimer. If you cannot see us, hear us, please let us know in the chat. Make sure you keep your TVs and cell phones in mind. And as always, make sure you take notes and or screenshots so you can review the information for later. But once again, this session will be on our YouTube channel. So hello, YouTube. And you can review and rewind as much as you'd like. So once again, Samantha, if you could introduce yourself and your topic for today. Thank you so much for coming on, and I look forward to the session.
Sure. Thank you so much for that great introduction, Alex. And again, it's great to be here and to be a part of this community with you all. Today, I'm going to be talking about different resources for people who are over 60 and caregivers of people who are over 60. And my position at IONA is I manage our information and referral helpline. And I also do outreach for IONA, which those two things kind of work nicely together because I need to know about these resources, whether it's at IONA or other organizations for our helpline, which I'll talk more about. And it also helps me when I'm doing outreach where I'm able to share about these resources to a larger community. And let me see. Would it be all right, Alex, if I go ahead and share my screen? I think it might kick your screen off.
Sure, sure. Go ahead. Thank you so much.
Okay. Let's see. I'm going to try and start it from the beginning and just want to make sure everyone can see it.
Yep, amazing. Full
Great.
screen.
So I said a little bit about myself, the topic, and I will talk more about IONA and our programs briefly, and then I'm going to get into more resources just that are generally in the community. Um, and it's a lot of information. So I always say that you can call our information referral helpline. We also have a resource guide I'll mention that you can reference. We have a now the best option would be the digital version because we're running out of the English version of the hard copy. We do have some Spanish version left. But we're going to be talking about a lot of topics, and I just kind of want to plant the seed that these are resources that are available. So you don't have to memorize it all, but if anything sounds interesting, feel free to reach out and ask more questions about how to get connected. Okay, so brief history about IONA. We are celebrating our 50th anniversary this year, and our mission is to support people as they experience the challenges and opportunities of aging. We educate, advocate, and provide community-based services to help people age well and live well. So I'll talk a little bit more about what that means. Again, we've been around about 50 years. It was actually three faith communities that came together and saw that they needed a separate nonprofit that can address some of the needs that their members were having. And in 1982, we became the lead agency on aging in Ward 3 in DC. And I'll talk more about the lead agencies for all of the wards. But basically, what that means is the Department of Aging provides some grant funding to local organizations. I think they're mostly nonprofits. I think WildTech also gets some grant funding from the Department of Aging. But for the lead agency grant, we're that funds certain programs that we can offer. So it funds my outreach that I'm doing, and it also funds our dining sites. So some of our programs are limited to wards, but most of them are for anyone in DC. So again, we've been the lead agency on aging in Ward 3 since the 80s. We have a day program in Northwest DC in Tenleytown that started in 1997. And then in 2020, right at the beginning of the pandemic, we opened a day program in Congress Heights in Southeast DC. In 2023, we became a lead agency in Ward 2. So that's in addition to Ward 3. And then this current fiscal year, we became the lead agency in Ward 4. So we're expanding, but again, I wouldn't worry too much about the lead agencies if you're not in wards 2, 3, or 4, because most of our programs are for anyone who's over 60 and lives in DC. The information for a helpline that I referenced is a resource for people to learn more about IONA's programs and services, but also it doesn't have to be limited to IONA. If you have any questions around aging or resources or diagnoses, if we're not able to help, we can always provide some information or referrals. So feel free to reach out whether you're interested in our services or you have more general questions or questions about other services like those that come up in this presentation. So we have callers who are calling for resources for themselves, for family members. We have professionals call our helpline, and community members. So sometimes we'll have people call about a member in their church they're concerned about or a neighbor. Any of that is okay. And the helpline is staffed by licensed social workers. I cover it a little bit more than 50% of the time, and there's another social worker who covers it the rest of the time. And you can call from anywhere. So we get a lot of adult children from out of the area who call, or cousins, siblings. So there's no geographic restrictions. It's monitored Monday through Friday, 9 to 5. And you can reach us by phone or email.
Oh, Samantha, do you mind going back really quick?
Yes. Is there a
Just make
question?
sure. Yeah, yep, here in the chat, I shared again how to take a screenshot. This is a great slide for you to be able to share with others or just reference. So for the next 30 seconds, you on your iPads, you hit your home button and power button at the same time. Once you do, you'll have a screenshot which you can find in your Photos app. So that way you can check it out and share with others. Um, so thank you for sharing this slide. It's a great one pager.
Thank you. And while I leave this up, I did want to just confirm with you how much time you'd like me to talk for, because I could talk for a really long time, and I want to make sure I'm mindful of everyone's time.
Oh no, Samantha, we're just getting started. So 2:45 or so. I know you have quite a few resources,
Yeah,
so
so I'll leave
I'm,
some
I'm
time
looking
for
to
question and answer, but I'll be sure to wrap up by 2:45.
yeah, it's however, we'll go with the flow.
Sounds
But
good.
again, your home button
Thank
and
you.
power button, you guys. And then I'm also going to put the number here in the chat. So please take advantage. If you have any additional questions after today, please give them a call. They're open
Yeah.
none.
Yeah, any questions? Doesn't have to be what's limited to the this slideshow.
Right, because you guys reference clients to other services
Mhm.
or refer them to other organizations, which is great.
Yeah. And I'm also happy to, if it works for you, Alex, I'm happy to send you this PowerPoint if anyone wants to receive it that way. And I see that Denise has a hand raised.
Okay, that's great. Yep, if you have I think we'll take this question and then we'll go through a couple of slides. Hi Denise, I hope you're well. You have a question,
Hi, how are
Samantha?
you? Yes,
Mm-hmm.
I was looking at the housing and long-term care option. Uh, how does that work?
That's
Is
a
it
good
regular housing or is for people that's need long-term care, short-term care?
that's a good question. So a lot of the time people think that Iona has housing within our organization, because I think people used to call it Iona House, but I think that was a little confusing and now it just goes by Iona. So we don't actually have any housing at Iona. We do have a day program, which is somewhere people can go um, like 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. for some social interaction and also some medical support if it's needed. Kind of like light medical support, like if they need help in the bathroom or um, different things like that. But if someone were to call our helpline, I don't think I have much actually about housing in this presentation. But
Mm.
if someone were to call our helpline, we would just be asking more about what exactly they're looking for. If they're looking for subsidized senior housing, for like independent, if they're
Mm-hmm.
looking for independent living, assisted living, if they're paying privately, if they are looking for subsidized options,
Yeah.
if they're looking to home share. So we definitely, that'd be a good helpline question.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah,
Okay.
housing can be very difficult in DC.
Right.
Be very expensive. Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
So
thanks
we get a
for
lot of questions about that.
answering that question. Yeah, that's a nice presentation.
Thank
Very
you.
interesting. And thank you for letting me share.
No problem. Thanks for asking.
Absolutely.
Have a good day.
You too. Okay, so a little bit more about IONA's programs. I mentioned just now that we have our adult day programs, which are generally for people who have a little bit of a higher need, either they have some memory loss or some physical needs. And it's somewhere they can go during the day for some programming, a lot of fitness, social, art programming. We have those two locations, the one in Tenleytown and Congress Heights. We also have social work and nurse care managers who can help with coordinating care, um, managing a diagnosis, putting resources in place, planning for the future. So we have, um, oh, I guess I didn't include my slide about fees. I don't think so. Most of our programs have no fee. Some of them have a sliding scale fee or a fee, but I always try to point those out because, again, most of them are sliding scale or have no fee. So the adult day programs is their sliding scale. We accept Medicaid or the VA, and a lot of the time long-term care insurance reimburses for that. The care management, our full, just general care management is private pay. We do have some light social work support specifically for wards 2, 3, and 4. And then we have no cost case management for people who have memory loss too. And that's citywide. So they're all kind of similar they're different versions of similar things. We do have dietitians and nutritionists on staff. And they offer nutrition education. So at some of our programs, they offer handouts or presentations or demonstrations. And we also have community dining sites. So I think in this presentation, I have a slide more about community dining sites. They're all over the city. The Department of Aging funds that through the lead agency grant. You can go to any of them, but most people just go to whatever is closest to where they live out of convenience. So that's a place where Iona has grown a lot over the past couple years. When we expanded into wards 2 and 4, we now have a lot more dining sites. So those have programming Monday through Friday. They actually have a lot more than just lunch. They also have a lot of social and fitness programs, and then lunch every day at 12. Um, in Ward 3, we have one located in a church. There's also some located at low-cost senior housing buildings, but again, they're open to anyone. Yeah, or community centers. So again, Iona has them in wards 2, 3, and 4, and then other lead agencies have them in the other wards. We have mental health services, so we have psychotherapy that accepts. Oh, and I'm not sure if I mentioned we have nutrition counseling too. So our nutritionists can provide consultations, and they focus a lot um, on if people are like losing a lot of weight and don't know why, or gaining a lot of weight and don't know why, or have a diagnosis that they're trying to figure out, how should I modify my eating to address this diagnosis or make sure I have enough calories. So that's another way that our nutritionists help, but that nutrition counseling is limited to our wards. And again, feel free to still call if you're not in one of our wards because the other lead agencies offer that in the other wards. So you can always make a referral. To go on to mental health, we offer mental health therapy, and we accept Blue Cross Blue Shield and Medicare for that. And we also have a variety of support groups that are all virtual. So, one support group we have that's very popular is our transitions and aging support group, that just discusses different needs that come up as people get older. We have a lot of caregiver support groups, and a lot of those focus on caring for someone with memory loss. So some are specific to spouses or adult children or family members generally, or focus on caring for someone who has a chronic illness. We partner with Whitman Walker and around a group called Silver Circles, that's for LGBT older adults. And we also have a low vision support group. For finding community and lifelong learning, I mentioned our dining sites that we have. We also have a program called Around Town DC, which reminds me a bit of some of the programming through Wild Tech, because we have a variety of programs, either virtually, but also some in person. Most of those in-person programs are in wards 2 and 3, but they are at no cost and they're open to anyone. It's just where they're located. And then for memory support, I already talked a little bit about some of our memory support, our day programs. There's a lot of people who have um, memory loss who participate in that. We have our social work support, and a lot of our support groups are for people who are caring for someone with memory loss. And I think I see at least one hand up from Kim.
Yep, yep. I did see another hand, but I know you were going over the different programs, which is great. I love all the different varieties, and I think the next slide you had something I saw briefly. It had something about fees, or oh,
Oh, okay, yes. Okay. I
yes,
thought I had it in here.
yes. I saw something like this, but we can
Mhm.
certainly go
I'll
over
go
some
over
of the
that.
questions. Do you have more slides specifically for each of these, or as well?
So I don't have more slides about Iona. This is kind of the bulk of Iona's because I wanted to be sure
Mm.
to share, give kind of an overview of some resources in DC more generally too. So I wanted to keep it kind of brief about Iona, just share a little bit about where I'm coming from, what we offer, and then we can jump into some more of those external programs.
I get the whole picture now. No, I really appreciate it because
Mhm.
I'm really looking forward to learning about those resources as well. And but Iona themselves offer a lot. So please, if you have any questions about any of their programs, please raise your hand and I checked the chat. Samantha, you may have gotten a direct message. So let's go through these hands. First up is Kim. Thank you so much.
Yes, Amanda, how you doing? Nice to meet you.
Nice to
Uh,
meet you. Thanks for joining.
good. Say for instance, somebody come in and want to get help for mental health. Do you need? Because I know with Medicaid, they particular about everything. Do you need a referral from your doctor for that, or can a person just walk in off the street and say they need help?
So, the best thing is always to contact our information referral helpline first, just to make sure there's availability and a good fit. And so we don't generally have it just kind of like readily available same day. And we also accept Medicare. We don't accept Medicaid. So if someone was looking to use Medicaid, we'd probably, if they were to call the helpline, we'd probably refer them to the Department of Behavioral Health. I know they have a lot of referrals, or looking on Psychology Today. So again, if it's not through Iona, we would probably refer somewhere else. But I'd suggest calling, and we could get that set up. I For the question about if you need a referral from your doctor, um, I think it might depend a little bit on the insurance. I don't think you do for Medicare, but basically you'd call and express interest, and we'd refer you to that program, and they'd handle all of that. I don't think you do need a referral because there's the PPO and then HMO. I think for HMOs you usually do, but so I don't want to, yeah, yeah, I don't think so, but I would just, if you're interested in that program, I'd connect you with them and they could walk you through those specific details.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Yeah. No problem.
Yep, thank you, Kim. Again, I put the number and the email in the chat, so make sure you check that out.
Okay.
How about you, Mr. Raymond? Thanks so much. You have a question for Samantha?
Yes. Hi, Samantha. Thanks for coming on. I appreciate you sharing this information with us. Do I understand that Iowa, IONA focuses on wards 2 and 3, and we have to go to other agencies for the other wards?
Yes and no. So, in a sense, yes, because we're the lead agency in wards 2, 3, and 4. So some of our funding is specifically for residents of those wards, which actually leads nicely into my next slide here. But it's really only 2 of our programs. So I just went through a lot of our programs, but it's only these 2 programs that are limited to wards 2, 3, and 4. So information assistance and education is like that light social work support. That's just for wards 2, 3, and 4. And now our nutrition counseling is just for wards 2, 3, and 4. But if you were to call us, the other lead agencies also have those programs in other wards too. And all of these other programs that I talked about are open to any DC resident. So the day programs, the dining sites, dementia navigators, that dementia case management I mentioned, therapy support groups, around town DC programming, those are all open to any DC residents.
So the dining sites, are they, do you have a list of the locations of the dining sites?
Yeah, so what I actually usually do is I did Google Department of Aging Community Living dining sites, and you can see all of the dining sites in the city, and
Oh, okay.
just pick whatever is closest. I mean, generally that's what people do, is pick whatever is closest to them, but you can go to any of them. It's just a matter of what, if say you live in one ward, but you're often in another ward, you can go anywhere. It's
Okay.
just a matter of where it's located. So yeah, that's another example where we have dining sites. Our dining sites are only in wards 2, 3, and 4, but they are open to anyone.
Okay.
Yeah, you
'Cause
can
I'm in
also
Ward
call that.
7.
You can also call DACL, Mr. Raymond, and then they can also tell you which one is closest to you for the information. So I'll also put DACL's hotline number if you want to know or specifically. But yes, like Samantha said, you when I Googled community dining sites, there's a couple of links that came up that you could check out. And there's a phone number if you have specific questions for that specific dining site. There's the number next to it I see here for each one, but you can also call DACL's hotline if you want to know more as well.
Okay, thank you so much. Can you put that number in the chat?
Just
Oh, yeah,
did.
there. Thank you.
Yeah, there's over 40 community dining sites in DC, so please call or take advantage of them. They're a great center for those social interactions, and you never know what's going to go down.
Right, right.
Yeah, and they
Absolutely.
offer the lunch is great. They generally all have lunch around noon. I think sometimes they're like an hour off or so from noon, but generally they all have lunch around noon, but they have a lot of programming in addition to lunch too, which is really nice.
Like exercise or they have a presenter like you're doing with us, but just in person at these sites and community wellness centers here in DC. So, and you may never know who you're going to meet, so it's worth it to check it out.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Do you see
All
another
right.
hand up?
Mm-hmm. Any other questions about IONA's programs before we go into those other resources for you guys? We got Denise. Thank you so much.
Yes, me again. I had a question. Some of the restaurants, you can use your EBT card,
Hmm.
of the ones that do accept that. Or I think it's for seniors though. I don't think it's for anybody. Have you heard of the restaurants?
The restaurants that accept EBT.
Uh-huh.
I actually don't know about restaurants that accept EBT. I do know there's, I'm just looking it up as I'm talking. I think it's
Mm-hmm.
called the DC Hunger Solutions is probably where I would go to find more information about that. Um, and I don't know, Alex, if you don't mind, if you can search DC Hunger Solutions and put their information in the chat. I know they work very closely with SNAP.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because I heard of,
that's where I was looking at for you know, the information about the community dining site. So I'll be sure to put that link in the chat.
yeah, because I heard of that, but I haven't heard anyone speak on it, and I figured you might know more about it.
Yeah, that's a really good question.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's an example of where it's like, well, I'm not really sure, but I do think I can point you in the right direction.
right, right. Exactly. Okay, Alice, you gonna put it in the chat?
Yep, there it is. Thank you so much, Denise.
All right, thank you.
Mm-hmm. All right. Okay, all right. We got two more hands. Thank you so much. Love the questions, you all. Again, any questions about Iona's programs, anything of that nature? We'd love to hear from you. We got Miss Celeste and then Miss Gracie.
Good afternoon. A while back or recently, I was at an event and they gave out a booklet on Iona. How would I go about getting that booklet? Because I
I
had one.
I think what you're referring to, does it look like this?
Yeah.
Yeah, so we ran out of a lot of, I think we're pretty much out of our English hard copies, but you can
Mm-hmm.
find it online. This is another thing that I often Google myself even. I just Google Iona Resource Guide Department on Aging and Community Living. They have a link on their website. We have one on our website too, but that's usually, I just find it easier that way. Um,
Mm-hmm.
Alex, you're helping me out a lot today. If you don't mind putting that in the chat, but you can find it online. I can also send Alex a PDF of it.
Yeah,
We
it's
do,
a quick Google search. It's you
it's a
literally search
quick Google
Iona
search.
resource guide and it's there. I mean, a lot of things are online, you guys. So if you know use your Safari apps and you Google what you need or what you'd like, it's usually just a click away. So
Yeah.
but it's in the chat as well. This a resource guide, but it is a great document. But I know the paper copies are running out.
Yeah, so we do have, I think we have a good amount of Spanish versions still. And again, you could always call our helpline and get information. We could even email over like specific sections or print out specific sections and mail it. Or we can just talk through situations and refer either from the guide or from other resources we have too.
Yep, thank you. Make sure you check out that link, Miss Celeste and everyone else. That is the Iona resource guide. We had Miss Alice talk about the guide about 2 years ago with us, and went over the guide together and what it provides. And the table of contents is amazing. They list out every single kind of resource, and DMV wide too. So it's a great resource. Make sure you all check it out. We got Gracie next. Iona question.
Yeah, could she put that slide back up there that she had before she put this up? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Two programs, Ward 2, 3, and 4, under one, information assistance and education. Will you be talking more about that in your program?
So I can talk a little bit about it now. Let me
Okay.
I'll quickly go over the slide. I think we touched on a lot of these things, but I didn't talk through this slide directly, and I'll talk more about that program when
Okay.
I get to it in the list, if that sounds okay.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah, so again, I think I kind of referenced some of this. Most of our programs are for people who are over 60 or caregivers of someone who are over 60. Most of our programs are DC wide, so everything I talked about here for the most part is DC wide, except for those two programs we just mentioned listed below. Some of our programs go a little bit into Maryland. So for wards 2, 3, and 4, the only programs we have that are only for those wards are information assistance and education, which we call light social work support. So it's like if someone has a question about, or maybe they only want to apply for SNAP, or they only want to apply for LIHEAP, or they got something in the mail and they're not sure if it's a scam and want a social worker to look at it. So kind of like those quick supports is what that program is. Again, both of these programs that we only have in the wards 2, 3, and 4 are offered by other lead agencies in the other wards. So we could refer out. And then our nutrition counseling. So meeting one-on-one with a dietitian or nutritionist and getting that support around eating. Through IONA, it's only through wards 2, 3, and 4, but it is offered in the other wards.
I'm from Ward 2, so I was just trying to make
Oh,
sure.
good. Yeah.
So I know
those
what
are
to look for
Mhm.
now, huh?
Yep. So those are both resources available to you.
Okay, thank you.
And like I said, most of our programs have no cost to the participant. Some of them have sliding scale. The only program that is only for fee is that like full in-depth care management. But then the other ones that have a fee have other sliding scale options too.
Thank you.
No problem.
Thank you.
And we talked a bit about our resource guide, available electronically, or just feel free to give us a call. Hopefully we'll come out with a new version soon and have some more printed copies. We don't have a timeline on that yet. So, and again, just a reminder, you don't have to memorize everything here. If we don't get to something, it's all going to be in the slideshow that I'll send out, and also in the resource guide or the information referral helpline, because I know it's a lot of information. Okay, so moving away a little bit from IONA, we might pop up in some of the other slides. We've referenced the Department of Aging and Community Living quite a bit, so I wanted to talk more about what they do and how it connects with these other agencies we're talking about. So the Department of Aging and Community Living is kind of like the big government organization in DC that supports aging. And they partner with many other organizations to help provide programming for people who are over 60 in DC. So I mentioned that they provide some grants to organizations, the lead agencies I'll talk more about. Some of the programs that they support are community activities and events. They support our Around Town DC program I mentioned, the online resource that you can go to see what programs we have going on either virtually or in the community. They support the dining sites we referenced, the nutrition programs I mentioned, some transportation services, health care and insurance counseling that I have a whole slide on, caregiver support resources, and adult protective services is housed within the Department of Aging and Community Living. Some of the programs that the Department of Aging and Community Living offers are offered in-house rather than providing funding for another agency to provide it. So they offer citywide case management for people over 60 who need it. They offer the home delivered meals in DC. These things will come up later in the slides too. And like I said, they partner with other agencies for other programs. And many of the programs that I'm talking about here in the rest of the presentation are funded by the Department of Aging, who gets some funding to them that they can then distribute. So what keeps coming up is their lead agencies, the Department of Aging and Community Living's lead agencies that again receive some funding from the Department of Aging to offer specific services. So the services that generally come to mind for me are that light case management, the social wellness programs, the community dining sites, and all of these agencies, I think all of them have additional funding streams. So through those other funding streams, they might have some other programming, but then there's a lot of overlap because we all share some similarities in that we have the dining sites and things like that. So again, these are all the wards and the lead agencies in each of those wards. You can reach out to the lead agency directly. They might be the most knowledgeable. They'd probably be the most knowledgeable about that specific ward. But you can also, just speaking for IONA, you can call us regardless of what ward you're in. We do have information for across the city. But for specific things like say you live in Ward 6 and are looking for light case management, we'd probably refer to Seabury for that. We talked a bit already about care and case management, so helping with coordinating care, making sure that people are staying on top of doctor's appointments. It can be a lot to keep track of, and the health information. A big part of care and case management is applying for benefits. I know someone was asking about housing, and that can be a hefty task to apply for different apartment buildings and things like that. So case management can sometimes help with finding housing, aging in community. So kind of the other end of that, if rather than looking at long-term care, residential facilities, if you want to stay where you are in your home, care and case managers can help you see if there's any needs that you have that you can get met at home. So having someone come to the house to offer some care, or having doctors come to the house, or making home modifications. They can help that type of thing. Or they can help with making a move, and they can also provide specialized resource referral. So like, for example, you can call the helpline for a resource referral, but if you have this ongoing relationship with a care case manager, on an ongoing basis, they'll get to know you and can provide resources specific to what you need. So the Department of Aging, I mentioned, has no cost case management citywide. IONA, we have a version of that specifically for people with memory loss citywide. We also have a private pay program and that light case management. Some of the villages, which I believe comes up in another slide, the villages and what they are, offer some social work support. I think generally it's not really like super full case management. It's more like kind of like maybe in between IONA's light case management and full case management. But they can offer some social work support, and those are nonprofits that you would join as a member. I'll talk more about that. The EPD waiver, that again will come up, a lot of this overlaps, is a program for people who need more help at home. It can pay for that care at home, whether it's a hired aide, a family member, someone of their choice, like a friend, um, or it could sometimes pay for assisted living care. And if you are a part of that program, you also get some case management support. And then there are private pay options. So IONA, I mentioned, has a private pay option, and there's other organizations in DC that offer private pay care management. And one of the things I say about the differences between the subsidized care and case management and the private pay is I like to think about it as like, what resources might they be connecting you with? Do you want someone who's very knowledgeable about applying for other subsidized resources? Or would you be considering moving to a long-term care community and able to pay for that privately? Or would you be able to pay for home care privately? So that's kind of how I like to think about it, is just what their expertise is, and what you're looking for. The senior wellness centers are again throughout DC. I mentioned IONA has our Around Town DC program. The website for that is aroundtowndc.org. That kind of serves as like we call it a satellite wellness program, because we don't have a senior wellness center in wards 2 or 3. So again, a lot of that is virtual. If you're interested in joining any of that, you could go in person if wards 2 and 3 are where you live or convenient for you. And then in the other wards, they have some similar programs. At these places, you can go specifically for health education, exercise classes, and social and rec programs. So they'll have things like chair yoga, Zumba, art classes, music classes. So there's a variety that happens at each of those sites.
Oh, I was just at a tabling event at Bernice Fontenue. It's a beautiful wellness center, and they have a lot exercise classes. They had Chef Herb there yesterday as well. Tech support. Just it's a great. All of these centers are very well run. Congress Heights Senior Wellness Center. They're very good about providing a lot of services to the seniors as well. So those are the two that I really like. I like Hattie Holmes. They're all really well run, so make sure you guys check them out.
Yeah, and it's nice because you kind of have like a home base where you can get to know the same people and see which programs you like and go on a regular basis. So I think that's something nice about having a site you can go to.
Yeah, Hattie Holmes, they had nutrition counseling there, so I saw it was just a one-on-one session. It was, it was very nice that that service is available. So
Okay, and another question we get a lot on our helpline is about getting help at home. So this could range. I don't know if any of you have heard the terms activities of daily living or independent activities of daily living, which the activities of daily living are things like bathing, dressing, like things that are you really need hands-on help. Whereas the independent activities of daily living are more things like running errands, like going grocery shopping or light housework, laundry. So that's the type of thing we're talking about with help at home. I mentioned briefly the EPD waiver, which is a program through DC for no cost help at home. You do have to apply for it and you have to qualify for it based on your monthly income and also your any assets you have. The state plan is through Medicaid, which will cover some home care. I think it's a little bit less hours. And that's through Medicaid. I might have said Medicare. That's through Medicaid. Medicare does not cover home care, but they will offer some supports, primarily like after a hospitalization or an event. Medicare would cover like very light home care aids, so like mainly like an hour or two a week to help with bathing. They would cover um, physical therapy, occupational therapy, speech therapy, wound care at the house if that's needed. But usually that's more after an event happens, whereas Medicaid covers home care on an ongoing basis. And then, of course, there's private pay options as well. They typically tend to be a little quicker to set up because sometimes it can take some time to get the EPD waiver and state plan going. So those are an option either long term or short term. And we don't offer home care at IONA, but we can provide referrals for. I wanted to share a bit about dementia and memory loss resources in DC. We at IONA will refer to memory clinics that can offer assessment, diagnosis, and support for individuals with memory loss. We can't diagnose at IONA. We can provide assessments, but they wouldn't be diagnostic. It would just be kind of informational, something to talk about with your doctor. But we can also help kind of connect people with memory clinics and memory resources. I mentioned adult day health programs. We have 2 at Iona, and there are other day programs as well in DC, which is somewhere that people with memory loss can go during the day for some socialization and also some care. It's especially good for people who maybe live with an adult child who works during the day, but they need some more support during the day. But really anyone who wants to go out and have that ongoing social programming. I mentioned Iona's Dementia Navigators program, which is care management specifically for people with memory loss. You don't actually have to have a diagnosis of dementia, just experiencing some memory loss. And if you're looking to find out, which we always encourage, find out what might be causing the memory loss, the Dementia Navigators can help navigate that. We just would be doing an intake if you called our helpline. And I think there is a fairly short wait list. I think it's like 4 to 6 weeks now. Sibley has a program called Club Memory. I believe it meets weekly in different parts of the city for about an hour or two at a time. And that is a social program for people with memory loss and their care partners. So they have activities, socialization. I think there's also a support group aspect of that. Again, these are places that's somewhere that we would refer you to. It's not an IONA program. And then there's a lot of support groups for people with memory loss or caregivers of someone with memory loss. So again, it might be through IONA. Sibley, I mentioned, has some groups, and there's other groups throughout the city. So if you're interested in anything like that, we would say, you know, call the helpline. We'll see what's the best fit for you. And that's a good lead into these caregiver programs. There's a great program through a nonprofit called Home Care Partners. They also, I don't know why this wasn't on the previous slide, Home Care Partners also offers some no-cost home care. It's I think it's generally like 3 hours, 3 times a week. So it's a little bit lighter, but there's no cost for it. They do have, they typically have a wait list. And then Home Care Partners also has this program called the DC Caregiver Institute. And this program is for someone who lives in DC and cares for someone who's over 60 and lives in DC. So they both have to be in DC, and they offer some training to the caregivers, support groups to caregivers, and respite funds for the caregivers. So the caregiver joins this program, not the person receiving care, but they can get some funds to pay for care. I don't think it would cover like full-time care, but more like respite, so that they could take a week off or take a weekend off, and get either care in the house, or I think they also partner with a local assisted living, I want to say Livingston, where they could provide a week of care at an assisted living. And again, it's the money is provided to the caregiver so that they can get respite, but it also benefits the person who's receiving care because they get that ongoing care, and their caregiver gets a break too, which is definitely important. Care management, while it supports people who need the assistance, it also can support the caregivers and help guide the caregivers. And when I'm saying caregiver, I'm referring more here to informal caregivers like family members or friends or neighbors. And like we talked about a few times, there are a variety of support groups for caregivers. And a lot of those can be pretty specific. So if you needed like a Parkinson's caregiver support group, or a caregiver support group for someone caring for someone who has a stroke, different things like that. Those are all things that'd be great to call our helpline and we can connect you with. Nutrition programs, we talked a little bit about this. I'm definitely want to look into seeing if EBT or where EBT covers restaurants or food from restaurants. That was a great resource someone mentioned. We've been talking a lot about our community dining sites in DC. There's a great program in Northwest DC. I think it's near Van Ness. Here's the actual address. That has it's called Northwest Community Food. And I'm trying to think how, I feel like it's not quite a food pantry, not quite a farmer's market, but you can go there and get a bag of fresh produce, shelf stable food, household and personal items. And it's nice because you can just show up. It's every Sunday, 1 to 3 at this address. No questions asked. So that's a great resource. Grocery Plus is free monthly bags of groceries. There's the senior farmers markets. And for seniors already enrolled in Grocery Plus, they receive a $30 in vouchers for fresh fruits and vegetables. SNAP, formerly called food stamps, is monthly financial assistance to purchase groceries. And Produce Plus is for seniors already enrolled in government benefit programs. They can receive $10 vouchers to purchase fresh fruits and vegetables. Participating farmers markets. And again, there are a lot of resources in DC and a lot of resources across DC. So we always encourage people again to call the helpline, and we can talk about specific situations and needs and refer accordingly. Transportation, there's a variety of transportation resources in DC. Metro Access, you've probably seen their vans driving around DC. They call that door-to-door paratransit because they help people from their door to the Metro Access door. So usually it's people who need a little bit more assistance. I think the fee for it, and someone on the call might know even better than me, I think it's $250 per ride. And then if you join Metro Access, there's no income limit, but you do need a doctor to sign off, and it's based on physical need. If you are granted Metro Access, you'd also have access to this program called Transport DC, which is for people who need a little bit less hands-on assistance, but still need transportation. And that's called curb to curb. So you'd have to be able to get yourself to the taxi. It's just like taking a regular taxi, and generally get in on your own. And let's see. And then MTM is through a program through Medicaid for transportation. I mentioned briefly the villages, which are those nonprofit organizations you can join as a member. They also have volunteers that can provide transportation. And there's a program, again, I'm not sure why I didn't list it here, called Senior Med Express, and that's through the Department of Aging for transportation to medical appointments. I just saw something pop up in the chat. Oh, someone said it's $450 a ride. So my information is a little outdated. It sounds like the cost went up. And then I think Transport DC, I want to say it's $7 a ride.
Yes,
So
transport is $7 a ride.
yeah. Okay,
We
and
had the
then
legal counsel for the elderly. They talked about some transportation options. So a lot of these here, but not the village ones too. That seems pretty interesting. But make sure y'all check out that transportation options video on our channel.
thank you. Yeah, and then of course there's also private pay options for transportation too. Legal services, these are all no-cost legal services. Legal counsel for the elderly is a great resource for no-cost legal services. I do believe there's a Alex was just mentioning them. So I'm sure they gave a little bit more of an overview of what they do. But that's the only no-cost legal services that I'm aware of in DC that focuses on people over 60. There's also the Network for Victim Recovery of DC for victims of a crime. Bread for the City has a legal clinic. Catholic Charities has a legal clinic, and a lot of the universities also have legal clinics. So these have no fee, and for the most part, especially legal counsel, Bread for the City, and Catholic Charities, they also have legal helplines. So sometimes if someone calls IONA and has a legal question, we don't have legal staff. We don't have attorneys on staff at IONA, so we'd probably refer to one of these helplines. But legal counsel for the elderly does borrow some space from IONA for what they call self-help offices, which is like paralegal services. And you'd sign up for it through legal counsel for the elderly. You'd call them and let them know what you're looking for. And in addition to IONA, I think they try to have a self-help office in every ward in DC. So it's a nice low-cost way to have a consultation with a paralegal. And I think they can also help with applying for some benefits. So it's another great resource to be aware of. I briefly mentioned earlier that there is no cost health insurance counseling in DC. This goes through the Department of Aging. And they focus on Medicare and Medicaid. It can also help with applying for programs like you may have heard of QMB, which helps pay for like deductibles and other insurance fees that might come up. And it also says here they can assist with resolving unpaid medical bills, making appeals for denials of medical services, and obtaining prescription medications. And they could, I think a lot of the time you have to leave a message, but they get back fairly quickly, I think within a couple days, and they could do consultations, I think over phone, probably phone, video would be more helpful than email, but I think they can also email, and they also see people in person. So let's see if chat. Oh, and Alex put legal counsel for the elderly's helpline number in the chat. Thank you. There are a variety of LGBTQIA plus programs in DC. The DC Center is for all ages. They have art, cultural, social, educational, health, and wellness programs. Capitol Hill Village, they have a big focus on intergenerational social and educational programs for the LGBTQIA plus community. And Silver Circles, I mentioned briefly before, is a group that IONA partners with Whitman Walker on. It's different groups for older adults who are in the LGBT community to share and receive support. I've referenced the villages a few times. I'll talk a little bit more about them specifically. So they, like I said, are nonprofits, and there's multiple villages in DC, but they go based on where someone lives. So, for example, there's Kingdom Care Village, which I believe covers all of Ward 8. There's Capitol Hill Village, which is all of Ward 6. Northwest Neighbors Village is in Northwest DC. Georgetown Village. So it just kind of goes based on neighborhood. And they're all independent but have some overlap. So generally you join as a member and you have access to their programming and their volunteer services. And the the memberships, typically there's a fee, but a lot of the time they're sliding scale. I think the only village that has no fee for anyone is Glover Park Village, unless there were changes, but a lot of them have subsidized that goes down to no cost for membership based on income and need. But they have a lot of programming, chair yoga, educational programs, walking groups, bridge, and volunteer support. So I mentioned volunteer transportation, help with technology, gardening, picking up groceries, friendly visits. So they're a great resource. See something in the chat. Okay, and Alex put in the chat a link to the DC villages. And this, I think, is my last informational slide, is adult protective services, which I think can sometimes sound like a scary term to people, but I do always like to encourage it as a resource. They're there to help if you're concerned about yourself or someone else who's over 60 and is a victim of abuse, whether it's neglect, self-neglect, I think is something very common that comes up, exploitation, of course, physical, emotional, or financial abuse, sexual abuse. If you're even suspecting it, you can even call APS and just consult and say, what do you think about this? Is this something I should report? Some people are mandated reporters like myself as a social worker. If I'm concerned someone's a victim of abuse, I would need to report it, but anyone can report, and they're there to, it doesn't have to be a fact. It could be, I'm worried about this person, I'm concerned there might be abuse, and it's Adult Protective Services job to follow up on that and offer support. So they can help assess and provide support to older adults who may be mistreated, exploited, or abused. And I do see a hand up here.
Oh, Samantha, is this your last slide?
I think it is, yes. So this is just
Okay.
kind of wrapping up some more of, information about IONA. But I can stop sharing in a second so we can all see each other's faces and have
Oh,
some
no,
Q&A.
I love this slide. I actually do have a question that revolves around this slide as well. But I think we'll hear any general questions for Samantha about her session today, about any of the resources that she provided to us, or some of IONA's programs as well. Any questions? So we have Anne, and then I have a question for you.
Couldn't get that thing unmuted. Hi, Samantha. How are you?
Good. How are you?
I kind of have a good idea what you would call abuse. But I want to know, is it strictly elderly abuse, or is child abuse involved in that too? And would you would report it to two different agencies, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
Okay. Uh,
So I would report you certainly would want to report any child abuse that you suspect also. I wouldn't report it to Adult Protective Services, though. I think it's called Child and Family Services. They
Yeah, I'm
changed
familiar
their
with
name.
that.
But yeah, so it'd be a different organization, but you would still want to report that. It'd be probably a somewhat similar reporting process, but maybe a little bit different on how the response would be.
Mhm.
And then the only other thing that I was thinking about as I was presenting about adult protective services, I think it's also for people who are 18 plus with a disability. So 18 plus with a disability or older adult, meaning over 60 is
Okay,
what I would report.
I'm dealing with a case in Louisiana um, that is going to turn my hair purple.
Oh
Oh
no.
no, we
But
wish you luck, Anne.
uh, I didn't expect to be the executor, and and I'm sick, so it's kind of challenging. But I have a neighbor who is a bipolar, and her friend drinks, and when he drinks, um, he gets abusive, and um, he made a threatening remark to me the other day, but I told him the lady is very nice to me, and she comes when my aide is not available or has left. If I need to reach something and I can't get to it, um, so I am concerned about her. And like I told him, I know how to dial 911 real quick. So you fooling with the wrong person. But I don't want him to uh, take out anything that I'm doing for her on her. And I sat her down the other day and explained that to her. And I told her that if I even hear him hollering loud enough, I'm calling because I will protect her because she protects me.
Yeah, and I think
So,
you bring up some really good points where sometimes, adult protective services, I wouldn't expect them to come out immediately. So if there's a current crisis, like if you hear her yelling or something, I would call 911, and then maybe adult protective services later. But you want to make sure that um, their immediate safety is addressed. But yeah, adult protective services is definitely a resource. And I would say, again, you could call them and consult. There's also a nice organization called Elder Safe. I don't know, Alex, if
oh
you're,
yeah, I think somebody over at Legal Aid
yeah,
told
probably.
me, yeah, a legal counsel for the elderly. I'm
Yeah.
one of the advisory council members for legal counsel for the elderly for Ward 7.
Yeah, they're a
Mm,
great
yeah,
resource too,
yeah.
especially for like consultation
Hmm.
around these concerns.
Well, it's good seeing you. Thank you for answering my
Yeah,
question.
no problem. Thank you for bringing it up. Sorry to hear that you and your friend are dealing with that.
Well,
Yeah, and thank you
I just
sharing.
didn't want to be the tough guy, and but I had to let him know that you're not threatening me, and uh
Yeah.
because you will be in jail tonight. So
Mhm.
I think he got
Well,
that message.
We definitely want to see you safe.
Yeah.
yes. So if you
Okay.
have any concerns, make sure you give them a call, okay? Again,
I
for
will.
yeah, for any of the hotlines, for a lot of the resources that we provide you, not just Samantha, but for all of the providers that we have on, again, just give them a call. Not the worst they're going to say is no, but that just goes for anything in life. When you call, you're either going to get an answer or you're going to get a referral or you may get a no. But you have to try, right? So that way you'll then know. So that's my encouragement for you all too. So thank you for that. Again, just keeping in mind, this will be posted as well. So just keeping that in mind, you guys. Okay. So Samantha, do you mind putting that slide back up with that
Yeah.
information that you had? Again, it's just
Sure.
good so that way folks can see the, the numbers in case you guys need them.
It's the right
Take your
slide.
screenshots as
Hold on
well.
one second. Just want to make sure I'm sharing the right slide. Hold on, I think I have to do a little bit of readjusting.
Yes.
Was it the last slide?
Yeah, the
This
very last
the
one.
very last one? Okay, let me
Yes. Just yeah, I
share
see
it
the
again.
helpline number. I see.
Oh, it's not
Yeah.
coming up on my
So
screen
just
for
hit
some
hit the
reason.
left button at the bottom left-hand side or hit your left arrow key.
Ah, thank you.
Yes.
Good to be
So
with techie folk.
yeah. So on your slide here again, there's Iona's helpline number. Again, any information. I mean, any question that you have. I mean, again, Iona DACL. I mean, these organizations are there to help you. So any concerns, give them a call. Give Iona a call. Give DACL a call, and you will probably get some great information and great referrals. So please call to get the help that you rightfully deserve. Okay. Do you mind speaking a little bit about the Congress Heights location? Really quickly, I know a lot of our
Sure.
seniors on today are from Ward 7 and 8, so I think that would be something that would be really accessible for them. Is there I know there's a day center there. Is that correct?
Yes. So I would say the day program is our main program at Congress Heights. All of the Iona programs are Iona programs. So again, if it's citywide, it's available to people in any of the wards. Congress Heights houses one of our 2-day programs. So that's what I mentioned, focuses a little bit more on people who have some cognitive or physical needs. And it has programming Monday through Friday, um, a little after 8 to 5 p.m. It's like 8:15 to 5 p.m. But they have really great social fitness, art programs, field trips, lunch, snacks. And that program is covered by Medicaid, the VA for sliding scale fee. That DACL supports that sliding scale fee. And it's very similar to the day program we have in Northwest too. It's just another location for it.
Yeah, thank you. It's really convenient. It's just a few
Mhm,
blocks away from the Congress Heights station and
mhm.
accessible by bus and there's some other stores near there it says the Park Village. So it's a pretty accessible spot.
And the other thing that I was going to mention about that location specifically, if you live in Ward 7 or 8, they also offer transportation, which is kind of unique because just unique to those wards. We don't offer generally transportation in our Northwest location or for the other wards.
Oh, transportation to Iona
Yeah,
Congress Heights
to
or
and from the Iona Congress Heights location for Ward 7 and 8 residents.
oh, well that's convenient. Thank you so much for sharing that. I really appreciate that, Samantha. Any other questions, please raise your hand in Zoom. Okay, we have Miss Ann and then Mr. Raymond. Okay. Again, Ann, you got to make sure you hit unmute in the middle. Okay, again,
Hello.
Ann, there you go. Mm-hmm.
Sorry about that. This is Anne. How are you all?
Good. Thanks for
Yeah,
joining.
yeah, thank you. Please, can you give me the number for that every Sunday on political? Do you have the number? Do you have phone number to call?
For which program?
The every Sunday food on political Northwest.
Oh, you know, yes, let me stop sharing my screen. I'll just I can pull up their website and phone number. The Northwest Community Food.
Uh-huh.
I
Every
know,
Sunday.
yeah, I know they're led by I think a volunteer. Maybe they have one employee. Um, I'm wondering if they only have an email address,
Oh,
and not a phone number.
oh, really?
Oh, yeah, I'm on their website. They just have an email address.
Yeah. Do you mind posting the
Um,
website in the chat?
yeah, I'll post the website and then there's also like a contact us form on their website.
Okay. So they're there every Sunday, every Sunday?
Every Sunday, 1 to 3.
Okay.
That's their website, and then at the bottom of it, you can see their email address.
I don't see the screen though. I don't see a screen.
Yeah, you have
Oh,
to, it's in the chat, Miss
yeah,
Ann.
it's in the
So you
chat.
gotta check out the chat.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. And let me see. And then, okay, and then I'll put their contact us page up too.
Thank you for bringing this up. Again, I've never heard of this or this program or them providing, so it's great.
Yeah, and I think Bread for the City and so others might eat also have some similar food programs where you could pick up items like that.
Yeah, the org you just shared, they partner with Capital Area Food Bank, Food for All DC. So they're pretty yeah, they're pretty in the network. So thank you again for sharing that resource.
Thank you. So thank you so much.
Yeah,
Thank
and
you,
definitely not
Ann.
an all exhaustive list of resources. There's a lot out there. But I wanted to give kind of an idea because I think sometimes people might be worried about something like health insurance and not realize there's this free resource that you can consult with that's knowledgeable. And I think they also have access to some of the systems, so they can be very helpful.
Yeah, again, I just shared Iona's helpline number as well. So in case you guys have any additional questions after today. We got Mr. Raymond and then Miss Louise. So just keeping the time in mind, please. But we left your questions. Thank you.
Hi, once again. So you're saying that they will, the Congress Heights location will come to your home and pick you up and take you back?
That's right, for Ward 7 and 8 residents.
Yes, well, I'm in Ward 7, so that's a lesson for me. Thank you so much.
Take advantage, Mr. Raymond. That sounds like the perfect opportunity to check them out.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And one thing I didn't mention, we have had a wait list in our Northwest Day program. Right now it's closed until July 7th, but the Southeast location, it's very active, but it doesn't have a wait list. So just call and we can connect you. So again, usually when you call the helpline, we have a great overview knowledge of the programs, but we would connect you directly with that program who can, if you're interested in either of the day programs, once you're off the wait list or if there's no wait list, they would provide you more information over the phone, set up a time for you to come in and ask questions, set up a tour, and then they also set up a trial day. So you don't have to commit right away. You can try it out and see if it's a good fit before. I think usually you would sign up for like a month because the charge, whether it's to you or if it's to your insurance, it's a monthly fee. So usually people would sign up for the month and it's just a minimum of attending 2 days per week. So it could be anywhere from 2 to 5.
Alex, this last number that you put in the chat, that's the number to inquire about the transportation?
Yeah, IONA. So that's their helpline. So general helpline. So if you call them for anything, they can refer you.
Thank you so much. I'm so glad I was come today.
Yeah, I'm so glad you joined. And again, we could refer you internally to our programs we talked about, or we could refer to a lot of these other ones that we're talking about, like Northwest Community Food, Legal Counsel for the Elderly, transportation resources. So no questions off limits.
Yeah, I'd be interested in finding out which places accept, which restaurants accept food stamps too.
Yeah, that was a great question someone brought up.
Yeah.
I hope you find luck with that. I mean, I've talked about using your EBT card and purchasing on Walmart, the Walmart app, because you can use EBT at Walmart. So, yes, on their website or their app. So, I mean, that what comes to mind. But take advantage of the free, food resources that Samantha shared, but also that we've had throughout. Ain't nothing like making some things yourself. So,
absolutely,
definitely check that out too. Okay.
Thanks, Alex.
Our pleasure, Mr. Raymond. Thank you so much. And then we got Miss Louise. Thank you so much for your patience. You have a question for Samantha?
I was asking about the villages. I noticed that Ward 5 is not included in their stuff. So which village will accept you if you're not in their ward?
Yeah, I don't know about Ward 5 specifically. I do know that the Department of Aging, and this is another thing I often Google, is Department of Aging Community Living Village Map,
Oh,
where you can put in an address and see if you
mhm,
fall within bounds of any of the villages.
mhm,
Sometimes I'll do that for helpline callers and they're like right outside bounds, and I say, why don't you maybe call anyway? And see if they'll squeeze you in, even though you're a couple streets away.
mhm,
Um, so, it's not a guarantee. If you're pretty far from the boundary, I would probably just see what other resources there might be. There's a lead agency in every ward, so that might be a good resource. They might have some volunteer services.
mhm,
And I'd also wonder if someone called the helpline and was interested in a village, but not within bounds, I would want to know more about what specific service they're interested in from that village, if it's the
mhm,
volunteer services, the social programs, because maybe there's something else we can refer them to where they can
mhm.
get what they're looking for, even if it's not through a village, if unfortunately they're pretty far outside the bounds.
Okay, thank you so much. Appreciate you.
No problem.
Thank you, Louise. I put the and actually a link where you can type in your address and it will tell you if there is a village in your location. So when I searched mine up, there's the one that came up. So I was pretty happy at that. So yeah, that's from the dcvillages.org website. So make sure you
And if
continue
you're
to check that out.
And if you're interested in volunteering, which is also great, you could volunteer with IONA. I don't think I mentioned that. We have a lot of volunteer opportunities, and you can volunteer with any of the villages. You don't have to be within the ward or a specific age or anything like that.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you. Any other questions? Reactions for our session today, you guys? Please raise your hand. We love to hear from you. And then I think if there are any other questions, I do see that hand. Okay. I think we have that hand, and I have something for all of us. Hi, Miss Celeste. You had a question for Samantha today?
Yes, I was wondering about the villages. I think it was pretty much explained for Capitol Hill villages in Ward 6. I didn't see that anywhere. So do I need to call Island to find out where that is for Ward 6?
I can put their website in the chat. But yes, they're definitely
That's in
available.
Northwest. Mm-hmm.
Yes.
It's yeah, they're actually for the most part, Capitol Hill Village overlaps southeast and northeast. I do know they have sliding scale membership, but I think generally it's Ward 6 is what they support, and that's in the chat, their website.
Yeah,
Okay.
make sure you check out the link I just put if you want to put in your address and they can tell you the list of villages that are near you. So I would also check that app out as well, Miss Celeste. Okay.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Thanks for the question.
You guys asked some great questions.
Yeah, you really
You
do.
want you all want to take advantage, you know. Most of the things are free and for to benefit in some kind of way. And again, when you go out in different parts and places in DC, again, you never know who you're gonna meet and learn from or find a new resource, right? So definitely check those resources out. Um, as you may know, Samantha, we had a Mother's Day program last week, and I think one of the things that I shared is some resources for senior moms, but also moms in general as well, which I think aligned with a lot of the things that you shared today. So things like DACL, but also we work with the Washington Home too, and they support a lot of the presenters and providers that we've had on too. So and then this slide right here, Samantha, any ones that stick out to you that I see some that you did mention, but also things like Central Union Mission or Bread for the City is it really amazing as well. But the DC Caregivers Institute, yep, home care partners, that was really informational to learn about, of course. Any thoughts on these resources here that some that you mentioned or that you may not have mentioned that you like?
Yeah, it is interesting to see that Seabury, I mentioned there, the lead agency in wards 5 and 6. DC Hunger Solutions, we were thinking could be a good resource for the EBT question. And I'm glad that you include Community of Hope and Central Union Mission. I don't think I mentioned. But yeah, Bread for the City, great programs, also have that legal support in the EPD waiver. So this is a great listing.
Thank you so much. Yes, again, there's so many resources out here in DC, and even though DC's, relatively small, I mean, you could go up and down DC in like 30 minutes, each way, but there's just so many resources and organizations here in DC, so please make sure to check it out. So, thank you all so much for your wonderful questions and your comments, and I know they helped out others as well. Samantha, any final words for the group? About your session today, maybe some main things to go over and for folks to take advantage of. But again, thank you so much for your session today.
Yeah, thank you so much again for having me. And Alex and I had set up some more presentations that I'll be providing. So I'd love to see you all again. And I'm hoping that each presentation, there might be a little bit of overlap, but hopefully a lot of new information. And feel free to reach out by phone or email. I'd love to connect again about some more specific situations as needed.
Yep. So again, Iona's helpline number and email are there in the chat. I'm looking forward to your next session with us today and next month. We learned a lot, and let's all say thank you so much to Samantha for a wonderful session, and make sure to stay on for our poll to let us know how you felt about the session today. Thank you, Samantha. Have a
Thank
Thank
you,
you,
wonderful
Samantha.
Samantha.
day.
Thank you
Thanks for
so
having
Love
much.
me.
you.
That was
Most
great.
Samantha.
Thank
informative.
you,
Thank you so
Samantha.
That
much.
was so great. Thank
Thank you,
you.
Samantha.
Thank
Thank you
you,
so much.
Right.
Thank you,
Samantha.
Samantha.
Thank you.
Great
Yes,
Thanks again
session
for
nice
all those
job.
great
today.
questions.
Yes,
Thank
Thank
you.
Come back and
you.
see us
Engagement.
again.
Thank you for all the great answers.
See you
Yeah, great to
soon.
see you again. And it's always nice to have a really engaging session and people actively involved in the conversation. So I really appreciate that. I think it helps more to hear from you all than to hear from me. So
No, thank you so much. You're
Come
great,
back. Come
Samantha.
back real
I
soon.
will.
See you soon.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Bye.
Thank you,
Bye.
Samantha. Thank you so much.